A recent study finds that even when parents and caregivers are aware of infants' food allergies and have been instructed in ways to avoid potentially dangerous food triggers, allergic reactions still occur. Pediatrics reports that accidental exposures from unintentional ingestion, label reading errors, and cross-contamination resulted in 84% of 834 allergic reactions to milk, eggs, or peanuts. The cause of accidental allergic reactions to milk, eggs, or peanuts is attributed to lack of vigilance, 64.9%, label reading error, 15.8%, cross-contamination, 15.1%, preparation error, 4.1%, and manufacturing labeling error, 0.1%. We spoke with Ed Neuzil, registered nurse practitioner at Allergy, Sinus and Asthma Family Health Center, about the importance of testing for food allergies throughout your life.
Well, the allergic reaction triggers your immune system, which activates an inflammatory process. And earlier we talked about how chronic inflammation can affect asthma. Well, chronic inflammation in the body can affect other body organs. So inflammation, we measure inflammation for heart disease, inflammation in many other processes, and that's why we look at the term itis. Itis is an inflammatory condition, and your immune system affects every part of your body. And so individuals that do have allergies to foods and are able to avoid that exposure remark many times how much better they feel overall. And so that chronic inflammatory process can cause a chronic fatigue, don't feel well. I mean, even without all the really bad symptoms, you just don't feel good. We have several forms of allergy testing here. I mean, the more common that everybody thinks of is that for the airborne allergens, and that's a simple prick test to determine any severe allergens. And then if appropriate, we would do an intradermal test to look for any high-level responses. We also have food allergy testing, which can find and determine whether you have an allergy to different foods. And we usually test for the more common type foods. But what I also tell people, you may have sensitivities that are not what we call IgE mediated. So it's not an allergy, it's a hypersensitivity or an inability to process, because the foods that we find, and like if I test somebody and they're allergic to watermelon, they says, what's in watermelon I can be allergic to? And it's not the watermelon you're allergic to, it's the protein that's watermelon. And so that's what you actually have the IgE to. So when we look at food allergies, I mean, they could be mild, but they can be severe, and it doesn't take much. What I typically tell people, I say, well, if somebody gave you a cup of battery acid, would you drink it? And of course everybody says no. And I says, well, would you just take a sip? And I let them know that it's not always a lot of exposure. It can be a very minimal exposure to cause severe reactions.
For contact information and treatments offered by the Allergy, Sinus and Asthma Family Health Center in Lady Lake, click the Food Allergy Story link at yourhometownhealth.com.